What's up, y'all? What is good? How are you guys doing, man? First inner circle training. I'm super excited. Oh man, this is gonna be incredible. Listen, a few house rules, okay, to let you know that I see you guys' chat. Okay, so when I'm looking over here, I'm looking at your chat. I'm looking at what you guys are saying. I'm locked in. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you guys are super dialed in. Okay, make sure you're dialed in. Hey, what up, Virginia? How you doing? Crystal, what's up? Lisa, what's up? Y'all super excited. What up, Kel? What up, Diana? How you doing? April, how you doing? So listen, um, these lives are gonna be totally different than maybe what you expect. I'm gonna have some high energy. I am, but I want to be dialed in with you guys. I want to tone it down, making sure I'm giving you guys some good information, which leads to transformation in your life. All right. Remember, something I've been teaching lately, and I don't know if you were on my live on Instagram last night, but understand this with transformation. There's three parts. What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? So I'm not gonna be looking at the comments much, okay? Because I gotta be dialed in. If I'm looking at the comments, I'm gonna be all over the place. So what you can do is whatever questions that you have, all right, write your questions. Brenda's in here. She's gonna moderate everything. She's gonna take you guys' questions, and at the end, I'm gonna spend time answering some questions. And the questions that I don't get to, I will be in the Facebook group and answering as many questions as I can through video or going live on there. But before I get started with the confidence training, there's three I's that I always talk about that lead to transformation. The first I is information, right? Everybody gets information. That's great. Information is very important because in order to grow your life, you have to obtain information or knowledge that your life doesn't have. Okay, so you're gonna get that tonight. The second thing, the second I is inspiration, right? And we talked about this on my live December 11th. Inspiration is great. Some of you guys are going to be inspired tonight, and that's great. But inspiration isn't enough to create transformation. You need the third I, which is implementation. Okay, and that's why we have Trent's Inner Circle, so I can give you guys the how-tos. All right, so I can answer you guys' questions, so we can make sure that we're creating real change in our lives. And before we get started, all right, I need to make sure that your energy is up. So what I want you to do right here, clap it up. All right, get your energy up. If you got to scream and say, let's go, let's go. All right, let's get dialed in. Put away your phone, except if you're watching me on it. Turn off the TV. Make sure the kids are good or wherever you're at, and make sure you're dialed in. To the people who are watching the replay, all right, you can download the worksheet, take notes. If you don't know about the worksheet, I think it's right here. It clearly says it. You can download the worksheet for tonight's training. So let's talk about confidence and why I chose it for the first topic. Confidence is everything. It's everything. I could have talked about worth. I could have talked about so many things, which we will talk about throughout this year. But I wanted to start with confidence. When you have confidence in your life, all right, your life goes to a whole nother level. And I'm going to break down the times in my life where I lack confidence and the times in my life where I do have confidence. But the thing that I know that is true, if you took my self-worth secrets, which you should have because it was free for you guys, if you took that, I talked about knowing your worth, right? Knowing your worth was made up of two parts. The two parts was the acceptance of self and the confidence of self. And if we take the definition of confidence, you can look up in the dictionary, you can look up Webster's definition, which is great. But if you take the definition of confidence, Rehab Time's definition, and it's simply this: knowing that you're enough, right? I don't care what you've been through. I don't care the mistakes that you made. I don't care who's walked out of your life. I don't care how many losses that you had in your life. I don't care how much fear you have in your life. I don't care what's happened to you in your past. The thing that I need to get clear to you tonight, okay, and clear to you throughout 2019 is knowing that you're enough. Okay, so I want to set the stage with this for a minute. I want to pour into you for a minute because so many of us, the main thing that I get from people is, Trent, I don't feel like I'm enough. Trent, I don't feel worthy enough. Let me break this down to you, okay? Because I just want you to understand how special you are, because this is a part of confidence. Once you realize how special you are, how great you are, right, you're able to have confidence. But if you don't know these things, I can say everything tonight. I can give you all the tools. If you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to have confidence to do anything else. So understand this fact. There's like 7 billion, okay, 7 billion people in this world. Are y'all seeing me? I had to reopen the window. Okay, cool. Y'all watching me. All right, are we good? Let me make sure we're good on here. Let me make sure we're good. Are we good? Are you guys seeing me? Because I'm seeing some people say they're not seeing me. So I want to make sure that we are good. Let me text Brenda. Make sure we're good before I continue to go on. Okay, we're good. Cool. Some of you, what you got to do is refresh. I think I'm seeing that on there. You got to refresh. All right, cool. Making sure we're good. I was like, man, I'm here talking to myself. Don't nobody hear me? But when it comes down to confidence, I need you to understand that you are enough. There are 7 billion people, 7 billion or something like that. You can Google it. There's 7 billion people in this world. All right. And there's only one of you. Like, I want you to think about that for a second. Like, take that in. There's 7 billion people, and some people might be thinking, well, it's a curse to be me. I wish I was someone else. Why? Your greatest gift, your uniqueness is your greatest gift. Like, do you understand that? Like, the things that you hate about yourself can be the things that people end up loving about you. I'm going to talk about how I hated my voice. I did. I didn't like the way I sounded. I didn't like the way I talked. But now my voice is able to impact lives all across the world. I was ashamed of my past, right? You guys know my quote. Just because you have some bad chapters doesn't mean your story can end well. I was ashamed of my past. I was ashamed of these things. But all those things that I wasn't proud of turned me into a person that makes you guys, even myself, my family, proud of me today. It's because I decided to own myself. I decided to own everything about me. So the things that you don't like, those flaws that we all have, those perfect flaws that make you that special you, I need you to own that. Okay? I need you to stop talking down to yourself. I need you to stop looking at yourself like you're not enough. God created you. Think about that. Like God created you. I always say this, like whether it took 9 months or however many months it took for you to come out your mother's womb, like God created you. Right? And God doesn't create mistakes. And so when you understand that you're created by a great God, when you understand that you're created by a great God, you understand that you have greatness inside of you. Do you get that? So even just starting there, that's a great foundation for you to build your confidence. That's a great foundation, right? For you to operate in confidence. So understand this fact, okay? Write down the definition. Confidence is simply you knowing that you're enough, okay? It's simply you knowing that you're enough. On the worksheet, I gave you guys some questions, right, to ask yourself about confidence. And I mentioned this, I think in the Facebook group or a recent live, and I talked about this. I said, ask yourself this question. Now, I did it with the greatest you before, but ask yourself this question. And I want you to really think about it. I really want you to like visualize this. What would the most confident you, and these are conversations that I have with myself, what would the most confident you tell the present you? What would the most confident you tell the present you, right? What would that person say? What would that person tell you to stop worrying about? What would that person tell you to own? How is that person living? What is that person doing? Because when you walk in confidence, and confidence is not cockiness. Let's talk about that for a minute. Because we live in a society where they try to tell you to dim your light, right? They try to get you to silence your voice. They don't want you to be confident because people mistake confidence for cockiness. That's totally different, okay? It's okay to own who you are. It's okay to celebrate who you are. It's okay to give your gifts, to give your talents to the world, and you can be unapologetically you. It's okay. And so what would that person tell the present you? Because there's people, and I'm going to gain some leverage right now in your life. There's people, I guarantee you this, that need you to become more confident. There's people in your life. If you're watching this and you got kids, your kids need you to be more confident. If you have a spouse, your spouse needs you to become more confident, right? If you have a purpose, which we all do, the strangers in the world that you don't even know yet need you to be more confident. Just imagine if I would have never became confident in what I'm doing. Just imagine. Just imagine if I would have let these things, which I'm about to talk about in a minute, these confidence drainers, control my life. Just imagine if I would have let fear and all these things in my past control my life and silence my voice, and I would have never became confident in who I was. Lives across the world, right, wouldn't be impacted. You guys wouldn't be on here today. My kids, my family, so many people, right, I would have been doing a disservice to because I never would have owned myself and became confident with my life. So I'm going to ask you that question again. I really want you to think about it. Stop worrying about what people say. That's right, Virginia. Jen, the worksheet is right here on the thing. You can download it. Inspiration. What's up, Daniel? How you doing? Think about that, right? What would that confident you, the most confident you, tell the greatest you? Okay? What would that not the greatest you, what would that confident you tell the present you? Excuse me. What would that most confident you tell the present you? And as we dive into this, as we talk about these confident drainers, the things that drain your confidence, the things that limit your confidence, the things that suck all the confidence right out of your life, before we talk about that, think about this for a second. The times that you're least confident, whenever that may be, for some of you that might be all the time, for some of you that might be in certain areas, the times that you are least confident, what's actually going on? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? Because this is a conversation that I had with myself, with my life, that really helped me. I was realizing that I had these things that I now call CDs, confident, not like ones you put in the tape player, but I'm big on abbreviations. So CD stands for confidence drainer. I had all these CDs in my life, especially when it came to public speaking, especially when it came to sports, just period. Like, I was a shy person and I was a fearful person. People don't even realize that. They like, you was fearful? Yeah, right. Yes, I was. Because I had all these things draining my confidence. And let's work through these. And I work on the worksheet. You can write your 5 down. Maybe your 5 is different, but these are 5 confidence drainers that we're going to talk about that I see so much with people that drain their confidence. And if you have these things controlling your life, there's no way you can be the greatest you. There's no way you can be the most confident you. When I say the greatest you, understand the greatest you is operating at high level confidence, period, at high level confidence. The first thing that I realized in my life when I was like super unconfident was I had fear. I had fear controlling my life. And let me tell you something right now. We're human beings. This is not no magic pill, no bulletproof formula to make you bulletproof to emotions. It's not. Okay, you're going to have times where you're fearful. You're going to have times when you don't have confidence. But the thing is having a framework to remind yourself and go to when you're feeling these emotions, right? Just because you feel these things doesn't mean you have to allow these things to control your life. I always say this, feelings are real, but feelings aren't always right. So the first confidence drainer for me, and write this down if this is the same for you, is fear. Was fear for me. So every time that I wanted to do something special, right? Even going live right now, I would be super fearful, or speaking on stage. I had fear controlling my life. I remember the first time that I had my very first speaking engagement. It was in Dallas, Texas. Some of you heard the story, but it was like 5,000 kids. This is when I first started rehab time, like right at the beginning. And at that time, like, I never wanted to be a speaker. I was scared. If you look at the statistics, people fear public speaking, okay? People fear public speaking more than they fear dying, meaning that they would rather be in the casket than giving a eulogy. People fear drowning. People fear, what's the other fear? People fear heights. All these things. I'm going to talk about all these fears because all those fears were real for me. And I'm going to talk about why people fear public speaking so much. But I was scared. I didn't want to do it. I was trying to talk my way out of it. My homeboy was like asking me, am I scared? I was saying I wasn't. But anyways, he got me to do it. I prepared the whole night before, right? I mean, I'm talking about because I feel like preparation, we're going to talk about this, is a part of building confidence. So I prepared the whole night before. Like I knew my speech like a rap verse. Like I knew it. I knew it from the front to the back. And literally I was only speaking for 2 minutes. Like we already been going 15 minutes. So I was already speaking for 2 minutes and I thought 2 minutes. I was speaking for 5 minutes, excuse me. I thought 2 minutes was an eternity. So I was like, 5 minutes, there's no way I can hold it down for 5 minutes. So anyways, I prayed, I psyched myself up. I get out there, right? I grab the microphone and I get on stage and I look out and I see 5,000 kids. And if you've never spoken in front of kids before, let me tell you right now, if you're ever trying to be a speaker, if you're ever trying to build some confidence, go speak in front of some teenagers because they'll let you know what it is. People always ask, how did I get my just real, raw from the heart style? It was this moment because I couldn't fake anything. I get to the microphone and I'm fearful. I'm fearful that I'm going to fail. I'm fearful that they're going to laugh at me. I'm fearful that what's about to happen is going to happen. And what happened was, as soon as I got to the microphone, I went blank, like for real. Like I said, the night before, I knew everything I was going to say. But as soon as I got there, I had anxiety. My heart was pumping. I was so scared. I went blank. And in that moment, I was just like, you remember I talk about you got to sink or you can swim. At that moment, that's what I told myself. That's where that came from. I was like, man, God used me. He's like, Trent, you can sink or you can swim. I was like, I'm going to swim. And I just kept it real. And to make a long story short, by me facing that fear, right? By me facing that fear, I started to realize that fear is really just a bully, right? It's really just a bully. Fear isn't real. What do they say? Fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear isn't real. But so many of us, we allow fear to control our life. Some of us, we allow fear to keep us in a relationship that's terrible. Some of us, we allow fear to keep us from pursuing the greatest me's and you's. Some of us allow fear to keep us from healing, right? We allow this fear to control our life. And I realized the more you face fear, right? The more you face it, the more you realize that fear is just an obstacle. Fear is not a set in stone wall that can't move. You can break through that wall. And that's what I did that night. And over time, as I kept coming back, that fear of me speaking started to get smaller. And it really helped my life. But if I would have never faced that fear, if I would have never walked into that fear, if I would have never stood up to that fear, even though I was scared, I would have never found the confidence. I would have never found the strength that I have now as a speaker. And I can even talk about so many other things, even my fear of heights. Like I was afraid of heights. I don't know if anybody out there is afraid of heights. If you're afraid of heights, say, I'm afraid of heights. So what I did, I promise you, I'm going to tie all of this in. So we got time and I'm probably going to go for longer than an hour now. So I hope you guys are into this and in tune. So I was afraid of heights. I had a fear of heights. And so my friend buys me a skydiving ticket for my birthday, right? Like who does that? Who does that? You know, I'm afraid of heights. I don't like heights. And y'all probably like, Trent, you afraid of heights? I'll be seeing you on mountains all the time. Exactly. But I was afraid of heights at this point. He buys me a skydiving ticket. Okay. So I'm not going to tell the whole story because it's long. But anyways, we get to the skydiving place. And I'm trying to do everything that I can do to get out of this. Like they have a weight limit for when you skydive. So I'm trying to gain weight. Like that might have been the reason why I got so big. I'm trying to gain weight. So I'm like, so they can be like, hey, you're overweight. You can't jump. Right. And so I'm reading y'all's comments. So you're afraid of heights? Is it Divana? You're afraid of heights too? I feel you. So if you're afraid of heights, go do this. So I get there and clearly I make the weight limit and it had to be like the most crop duster, raggedy plane I ever seen in my life. I'm like, dang, at least they could have got me like a good plane or something, right? And so my nerves are just running, man. I got the BGs. If y'all know what that is, put Urban Dictionary what BGs is. I got the BGs. I got to go to the bathroom. I'm terrified. We get on this plane. We get on this plane, and I look at my friend, and I'm like, bro, you scared? And he was like, yeah, I'm scared. So I'm like, I'm scared too, bro. He's like, well, let's do it, man. Let's conquer our fear. And that sounds good. Like, it sounds good when you're on the ground. You know, it sounds good before you actually go attack it. Somebody put bubble guts. It sounds good, right? And so I get up there, and there's three of us. There's three groups. You have to do a tandem jump. There's my friend, there's me, and there's this other person that I don't know. So the plane like stops right at like 8,000 feet. And the first guy goes, and he goes out. He's like, ah, I'm like, oh man, what? And I was like, man, I got kids, got a wife. I got rehabbers across the world. I can't go out like this. And so I'm already up there. I mean, it's only one way down, you know. So I start to scoot up. And the guy who I'm tandem jumping with, you know, the professional, he stops me. He's like, what are you doing? And I was like, it's time to jump. And he was like, I was scared. I was scared for real. He was like, what? He's like, nah. This is 8,000 feet. Your friend, him, he bought y'all 18,000 feet. So yeah, we went another 10,000 feet higher. And for me being afraid of heights, you guys know how I felt at that moment. I looked at him like, bro, after this, if we still alive, we're going to have some problems. He looked at me and said, Trent, it doesn't matter. I mean, 8,000, 18,000 feet, if the parachute don't open, we dead regardless. It don't matter. So we might as well go all out. So anyways, we get up to 18,000 feet. And this is the reason why I tell this story about fear, because I want you guys to understand what fear is. And I want you guys to understand how you conquer fear. So we get up there, and like, I'm shaking, man. Like, I'm nervous as heck. And I thought about it. At this moment. I started thinking about all the times that fear was draining my confidence. And I started to think, like, why is fear draining my confidence? Like, what is it about fear? And so I went to my speaking engagement. I said, well, I was fearful then. Why was I so fearful? I went to other times in my life that I was fearful. I said, why was I so fearful? And this is what I came up with. And this is life changing. I know it seems so small, but it's life changing. I realized in all of these moments, I was creating a result that I didn't even experience yet. So for some of us, right, we're in bad situations, we're in toxic situations, and we're afraid to leave because we're already telling ourselves what it's going to be if we do leave, right? And usually what it's going to be is something negative. So we stay. For me as a speaker, when I was being fearful as a speaker, you know, I was telling myself before I would go on stage, they ain't going to care about you. You're going to mess up. You don't deserve to be here. You made too many mistakes in your past, right? I was creating a known result from a situation I haven't experienced yet. I was telling myself what it was going to be before I ever went through it. AKA, I was defeating myself before I ever stepped in the ring, right? So why would you ever step in your ring of growth, whatever it is for you, right? For some, it's so many different people in here with so many different elements to their life. So whatever that growth is, why would you ever step into that ring of growth if you're already telling yourself that when you step into the ring, you're going to fail? And so when it came to skydiving, what was I telling myself, guys? Somebody tell me. What was I telling myself? I'm reading y'all's comments. Hesitation is the worst thing, even trying. There we go. Fear is so much worse than it actually happened. You're going to die. There we go. Lisa said it right there, right? I'm telling myself, thank you, Lisa, that, and I got a workbook for you, Lisa. I'm going to give you a free workbook for answering that question. All right. So hit me up after, right? I was telling myself that somebody said, holy, y'all. I gotta stop looking at the comments right now because y'all saying some funny stuff. I was telling myself that I was gonna die. I was telling myself that I was gonna use the bathroom on myself. I know this is TMI, but y'all my inner circle. I was telling myself that the parachute wouldn't open. So how could I ever enjoy it if I'm telling myself it's gonna suck, right? If I'm telling myself I'm gonna be defeated, it's gonna fail before I ever do it. So in that moment, all of this went through my head within probably like 5 minutes, maybe shorter than that. And I don't know where it came from, but I was like, wow, like this is a great teaching moment. Now jumping out of a plane was way bigger than me. Now I can teach people across the world how to overcome their fear. It went through my head. So immediately what I did was I changed the result. So what I did, I said, you know what? This is going to be the most incredible feeling ever. Like, I believe conquering fear is contagious, and it is. That's why now I do crazy stuff that people call crazy, because I know it becomes contagious. If I can conquer this fear, then I can use this as leverage on another fear, if that makes any sense. So now when I'm afraid because I'm a human being, I say, I jumped out of a plane. I'm good. I just spoke on the biggest stages ever. Like, why am I afraid to come here, right? And so for you guys that are dealing with fear, this is what I want you to do. Every time when fear is draining your confidence, every time that you feel fear, I want you to evaluate that. And I want you to change what awaits on the other side of that door of fear. So if this is the door, this is fear, is the door. And whatever you're over here, right? Whatever is over here, if it's a limiting, if it's negative, if it's failure, you will never walk through that door. I promise you. You will never walk through it. But if you change this to say success, to say lesson, to say I'm going to learn from it, to say transformation, to say growth, you will find the courage to walk through that door of fear. So the first, if y'all feel that, say, let's get it. The first, if you're going to do that, forget feel that. No, application, implementation. If you're going to do that, say, let's get it. So the first confidence drainer for me was fear. Okay, and I can even tell a story about drowning. Like, I've almost drowned twice. One recently with my son in Bali in the ocean. Man, I'm gonna bring real quick with this one, with fear. The first time was I was doing a mud run, and I'm shortening the story up. I was tired. I didn't understand how far the zip line was. We zip lined into a lake. I caught a full body cramp. I almost died. Literally. Almost died. Like, I was going in and out. Nobody was saving me. People that I knew was watching, taking pictures. Like, it was bad. And it taught me a lot about loyalty. That's where probably that Friends video came from. But I had a phobia after that of getting into water. But you know what I did? The next day, I got into some water because I wasn't going to let fear win. When I start to feel fear, I go towards it, right? Because I know if I let fear back me down into a wall, if I let fear take over my life, if I run from fear, fear is going to control my life for the rest of my life. And there's no way I can be confident if my life is being operated by fear. I want you to understand that. So I embrace fear. I go towards fear. So when I went to Bali, it was the same thing in the ocean. Tristan was way out there and he was about to drown. And that's my son. I took off my my surfboard because I had it to my ankle. I was trying to surf. Yeah, it was terrible. And I go out there and I had flashbacks. Like, here we go again. And me and Tristan was going. It was in a rip tide. A rip current. If you ever been in there, you know that you got to swim diagonal. I didn't know that at the time. I Googled it after. And me and Tristan weren't going anywhere. And I was feeling very weak. And luckily a surfer came and saved both of us. But you know what I did the next day? Or you know what I did? Actually, the next 10 minutes after I got off and caught my breath, I went back into the ocean. I refuse to let fear control my life. If you let fear control your life, I can tell you this. You will never be confident. If you're never confident, you will never reach the potential that you were created to reach, okay? So number one, with the confidence drainer is fear. Number two, another CD that I see a lot is mistakes, okay? I see a lot of people get their confidence stripped away because they're so afraid to make mistakes. They're always trying to be perfect, okay? And I'm not trying to tell you don't progress towards the best you. I'm not trying to tell you to not give the best you to the world, to not want to crush it. I'm not telling you that. But too many times we allow perfection, right? Especially with social media. We allow perfection to control us, right? And I want you to think about this for a second. Too many times our emotions are attached to the outcome. Too many times our emotions are attached to the outcome. And so many of us never want to move, never want to create movement in our life because we're so worried about the perfect outcome. Let me tell you something, man. The perfect outcome is you taking who you are right now and you going to attack it. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. It's all right. Turn those L's, right? Those losses into lessons. I made tons of mistakes in my life. Those mistakes grew my life more than the wins in my life. The losses in my life grew my life more than those wins in my life. It's okay to mess up. But if you're always worried about being perfect, you're not going to have confidence, because perfection is something that you can't achieve. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about a perfect life. That's not something that you can achieve. And I see people silence their voice because they want to be perfect so bad. I see people not giving their gifts to the world because they want to be perfect so bad. I see people hide who they truly are because they want to be perfect so bad. Who cares about being perfect? What we need is progression. That's what we need. Not perfection, but progression. And progression is an ugly road that leads to a beautiful place. I can promise you that. But be focused on progression. Because that's how you build confidence. Because with progression, you can look back and say, man, I'm a lot further than where I used to be. Man, the end of 2019 is a lot better than the beginning of 2019. Man, 2019 was a lot better than 2018. But if we're sitting here letting perfection control our lives, if we sit here allowing mistakes to silence our voice, we will never have that confidence that we need. I make mistakes all the time, and I don't just make mistakes on purpose, but I fail often. I do. I fall down. I stumble. I struggle. I do all of these things, but all of these things are a part of success. All of these things are a part of growth. And so when I lose, you know what? It's not a loss to me. It's a lesson. Failure is not failure. Failure to me is only when you quit. But failure can teach you things that nothing else can teach you if you allow it to. So stop worrying about being so perfect. I know people who want to be speakers, and they always say, well, I'm not ready yet because I don't have the perfect message. I'm not ready yet because I don't have this or I don't have that. What you're saying is you're not confident because you're allowing what you're seeing on social media or you're comparing your life, what you're about to talk about in a minute, and you're allowing that to keep you from progressing in your life. Progression builds confidence, okay? That's the second CD that I see in people's lives, and yours might be different, but when I looked at my life, when I was the least confident, I was trying to be perfect. I was having my life being led by fear, and this third one was opinions. I was allowing people's opinions to control my life. And if you value people's opinions, you'll never believe that you're enough. And it's crazy because we'll sit here and try to be perfect for imperfect people. We allow people that in stands, and listen to me when I say this. I knew I was gonna get worked up. I knew it was coming. I'm sorry I gotta bring it. We allow people that sit in our stands of our life, the stands in our life, watching us live our life and critiquing our life, and we allow those people who are doing nothing with their life to control so much of our life. Do you hear me? We allow people that's doing nothing with their life except critiquing our life to control our life. We allow them to strip our confidence away. We allow them to make us feel like we're not enough, especially in relationships, especially in friendships. We allow their lack of confidence to rub off on us. We allow their impossibilities to become our impossibilities. Never let somebody place their impossibilities on your life. What they couldn't do, what they couldn't be, has nothing to do with what you can be and what you can do. Understand that fact. And rejection, who cares if people tell you no? Who cares if people don't like you? Who cares if people don't support you? Forget rejection. Okay? Because I always say this with rejection. That no, that hurtful no, is making room for the perfect yes. That hurtful no is making room for the right yes. And with me, with my faith, man's rejection is just God's protection for me. I get rejected often. There's things that I want to do. As a speaker, I get rejected all the time and say, Trent, you're too urban. Trent, you don't talk the right way. Trent, you don't wear a suit and tie and all these things. Just imagine if I would have let those people control me. I would have no confidence because I would have believed them. Too many of us are placing belief in other people and we're allowing them to control our confidence. It's called self-esteem for a reason. But you know what self-esteem these days are based out of? Well, probably since the beginning of time, other people's opinions. It should be other esteem because we allow other people's opinions to control our self-esteem. Self-esteem should be how you feel about yourself. And one quote that I always say that you guys heard 1,000 times: never let how someone feels about you change how you feel about yourself. Change how you feel about yourself. And the reason why we do that is because, for one, we don't believe in ourselves. For one, we value other people's opinions too much. And sometimes it's the people closest to us. And I get it. We love these people. But you have to realize sometimes the people closest to us don't want the best for us. Please understand that opinions don't matter. They don't. Constructive criticism from someone that you value, from wise counsel, matters. But these reckless opinions that usually come from a place of hurt, let's talk about this for a second because I want to help you understand how to deal with opinions, aka hate. Understand where it comes from because too many people allow opinions to strip their confidence. And if you allow opinions to control your life, there's no way you can walk in confidence. There's no way you can walk in the confidence that you have to, that your family needs you to walk in. That's why I'm so passionate about this. But understand this about opinions and hate. Understand where it comes from. It doesn't come from a good place. When people are sitting there criticizing your life, just stop for a second and think about it before you allow it to hurt you, right? Because words hurt. I get it until you become bulletproof like me. And I understand where it comes from. So now I'm like, it got to be somebody really close to me that I really care about to give me some words that's going to hurt me. My skin has become very thick when it comes to that. But understand where it comes from, right? They're criticizing you. They're watching you. They're not doing nothing with their life. All right. They gave you rejection. Okay. No. Somebody tells you no. Who cares? Is your life over? No, it's not. You know, I tell my son all the time, like, he asked me about asking this girl out. And he's like in fourth grade, already trying to date. I'm like, bro, you need to wait for that. I said, ask her. Only thing I can tell you is no. That doesn't mean that you're less. That doesn't mean that whatever. It just means that that person wasn't for you. It's okay. There'll be millions of yeses out in the world. I promise you that. It's okay. My son, when he tried out for a football team, he was kind of nervous because he was afraid to get cut. I said, don't be afraid to get cut. Who cares? Allow that failure to make you stronger. There's always another opportunity. That has nothing to do with your value of who you are. Understand that. These external things has nothing to do with the value that's inside of you. Because you might be saying, Trent, that's easier said than done, but I hear negativity every single day. It's in my environment. People give me rejection. People throw opinions at me all the time. But that only means that you aren't loving yourself enough, right? That only means that you're placing more belief in them than you are in yourself. That's a personal thing because these people that give you hate, they're not happy. You'll never meet a happy hater. You won't. They're hurt. They're full of pain. So when somebody comes on my page and like, Trent, I hate you and you're just whatever they want to say, I already know where it comes from. I don't allow that to make me feel like I'm less. And I'll actually combat those things. So if you're ever going through this, opinions like that really hurt, that are stripping away your confidence and rejection, challenge it, right? So if those opinions make you feel like you're not enough, go prove to yourself at that moment that you are enough. So the rare case that somebody gets to me, I'll just take back in the day when people used to get to me, man, we're gonna be over here for a long time tonight. Let me hear you through this. When people used to get to me back in the day, it's because I wasn't evaluating like where it came from, right? And also I wasn't combating it with any truth. I was accepting the lies of the world. I was accepting the lies of people. I was accepting the lies of circumstances because circumstances can make you feel like you're not enough too. Because you might get cut or you might try for something, you fail, you don't succeed, or something goes wrong and you feel like you're less and all these things. So I had to come up with a formula. I call it fire escapes or exits in your life. But fire escapes, write these down. I wasn't going to talk about this tonight, but write this down. Fire escapes in your life are very important because a fire escape, or you can say an exit, an emergency exit, an EE. We just say that, emergency exit. When you get on the plane, what do they tell you, right? The stewardess is like, the exits are here. I'm always sitting on exit row because I love the leg room. They're like, If the door opens, I'm like, man, I need to pay attention because half the time I'd be asleep. Like if the door open, I mean, if emergency happens, this is how you get out, right? So they tell you what to do in an emergency. And when that emergency happens, you're prepared for it. And it's the same thing in your life. You have to have these emergency exits. So in this case, if somebody is giving you negativity, if somebody's giving you opinions, if life is giving you rejection, what's going to be your emergency exit? How are you going to combat that? My emergency exit would immediately go to something that I know makes me feel that I have worth. So a lot of times what I do, I'll go to you guys. I'll get online and I'll post something. And immediately when I feel like I'm not doing enough or I feel like for whatever reason I'm not enough, I read messages. And that immediately takes that away. I go to my family. That immediately takes that away. I pray to God. That immediately takes that away. A lot of us, we just accept it. And we keep accepting it and it just drains our confidence. It drains it, it drains it, it drains it until we have no confidence left. So we look in the mirror, we don't even know who we are because we allow people to create that. We allow circumstances to create that. So what's going to be your emergency exits when life throws you hard times, when life knocks you down, when people throw rejections and opinions at you, all right? Write those down tonight. You don't have to do it right now, but write down your EEs tonight because those are very important in life. Man, we're at 40 minutes and I still am on the CDs. Y'all with me? Let me see. Let me get to the somebody said my dog. Let me get to the chat right quick. It can drain you enough where your life is almost non-existent. It can. That's what I'm trying to say. And you can't allow it to get to that point. Emergency exits, leave a message here. Preach it, Penny. What's up, Penny? What up, Dorothy? My parents always told me to go for what you want. Yeah, they can say no. There you go. That's a perfect mindset, right? Perfect mindset. Write my EEs ASAP. That's awesome. So with the CDs, the confidence drainers, we got fear, we got mistakes, we got opinion/rejection. The fourth CD confidence drainer that I found out in my life is and was and still is at times comparison. Oh, gosh. And we live in a comparison driven world, whether you know it or not. And this is why it's so important when we get to the end of this training that you do the confidence checklist. It's so important to do this because every single time you pick up your phone, right, comparison is right at your fingertips. And sometimes we don't even know it. We scroll and we looking at somebody's life and we're like, dang, their life is good. And do you ever ask yourself why you ask yourself that? I mean, do you ever ask yourself why you ask yourself that question? You know, and of course you can admire people's life. You can be happy for them. But I always pay attention to the questions I ask myself because I'm like, man, their life is really good. Am I thinking that my life is bad? Right? Subconsciously. And when I mean subconsciously, a lot of times we are operating on a system that we don't even know we operating on. Like, of course, we have conscious thoughts, but we have subconscious thoughts also. Every time you pick up social media, it's a comparison thing, whether you know it or not, right? And a lot of us, we look in the world and the first thing we do is we compare ourselves to other people. And what that does, it automatically triggers something in you to teach you that you're not enough, that you're not enough. Right? You might say, "Oh, they have a great house. I wish I had. I wish I had that relationship. I wish I had that platform. I wish I had that bank account. I wish I had." And you're trying to tell yourself subconsciously that you're not enough. You will never be confident. I'm looking at my notes right here, and I wrote down this quote. You will never be confident trying to be something that you're not. I said at the beginning of this training, and I want to say it again, and I'm going to say it till I tap out on this earth. You are enough. Say it with me. Say, I am enough. This is something that you can say every single day. And it's a part of your checklist that I want you to do. I am enough. Don't allow this world to make you feel like You're not special because you don't have as many likes as somebody, because you don't have the relationship that they show on social media when you don't even know what's really behind the scenes. And you feel like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why can I get this man? Why can I get this woman? Why can I get this job? Why can I get this? Why can I get that? And we start to live outside of ourselves. And if you know anything about knowing your worth, what I talked about, the more you live outside of yourself, the more you kill what's inside of you. I call these external things, right? A lot of people live in the external, meaning outside of them. And they allow the things outside of them that you can't even control it, for one. We allow those things to control everything inside of us. So this is what I do. Y'all see this? Can you see this? This ruler? And I want you to do this, okay? Do it. Everything, the reason that you're in Trent's inner circle is not just to be here to be motivated. I need you to take action. I need you to take action this whole entire year, okay? Because I'm going to be honest, change is going to happen tomorrow. You're not going to just automatically be super confident tomorrow. This is a consistent journey. It's a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. This ruler. Some of you seen some of my videos where I have this ruler. And you're like, Trent, why does Trent have a ruler with him? Is he trying to measure something? And the thing that life has taught me with comparison and how it drains your confidence so much and why it drains it is because we're always trying to measure our life, right? This is society right here. This is the society ruler. And the society ruler tells you what you have to be successful. It tells you got to have a blue check by your name to be important. It tells you that you can't have a bad past. It tells you that you got to have a great relationship to be important. It tells you all these rules that society gives you. And society gives us this ruler, and we measure our life by society standards, right? We measure our life. And you know this. The more you measure your life, the less you'll appreciate your life. The more you're trying to measure your life up to society standards, the standards you see on social media from somebody else's life, like God already set the standard for you. Do you realize that? Your worth isn't dependent on anything external. Please understand that. Your worth is dependent on everything external that God already gave you. So no loss, no setback, no comparison, no mistake, no rejection could ever take that away. You're incredible because you were birthed incredible, because you exist. That's why you're incredible. That has nothing to do with the check marks by certain things in your life. And so what I want everybody to do, all right, I want you to buy a ruler. And I wouldn't tell you to do this every day, but that's a lot of rulers. So if you want to do it every day, maybe you have a connection with some ruler people who make it. But what I want you to do is, and I do this before every speaking engagement. I do this sometimes like physically when I'm feeling a certain type of way, when I'm feeling like my confidence is being drained because of comparison. What I do is I write on the back of this ruler in a Sharpie what I'm measuring my life with. So sometimes it might be comparison to other influencers, right? Sometimes it might be comparison to someone else's whatever, right? It might be comparison to who I was last week, whatever it may be. I write it on the back of this ruler. And what I do is I say a prayer to God. I thank God for creating me who he created me to be. I apologize to God for trying to be something that I'm not. And you know what I do? I freaking break it. I break the ruler. And that's what I want everybody watching tonight, and you watching the replay, everybody in Trent's inner circle. It's time for you to break the rulers in your life. It's time for you to break the rules, right? The rules that society put on you. And it's time for you to create your own rules and set your own rules. God already set you apart, right? And so this is a reminder. Every time I see it, I just before I step on it, I'm actually going to post a video. You will see it. I was actually on stage and I broke it. Every time that I see this, it's a reminder to stop comparing my life, stop measuring my life, and start appreciating my life. because I know if I'm comparing my life, there's no way I can live a confident life. I gotta hurry up, man. Actually, I'm not gonna hurry up. We're gonna be here as long as we need to be in here. The last, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Trina. Ready to break the ruler. You need to buy some ruler ASAPs. Thank you, Margaret. I appreciate you. Going to Dollar Tree. There we go. There we go. Break the rulers in your life. There we go. I like it. Man, y'all got me in here fired up. I'm about to wake up my daughter upstairs. It's all good. The fifth one that is a confidence drainer is trying to control the things that are out of your control. All right? Trying to control the things that are out of your control. That's just common sense. And we do it so many times. We try to control people. We try to control how people feel about us. We try to control all these external things. And you can never be confident living in the uncontrollables. So focus on what you can control. In the Trent Live on December 11th, I think I told you guys this. I want you to focus on one thing in your life that you can control, right? That's in your control. That depends on nobody else. That's in your control. Focus on that and keep building on that, because the more you try to focus on things that are out of your control, man, your life is going to be stressed. You're going to be full of anxiety. And just to be real with you, like, you might can influence things you can't control, but you can't change things you can't control. And if you can't control the things you can control, how can you ever expect the things you can't control to change in your life, if that makes any sense? So with these CDs, we talked about fear as a confidence drainer. We talked about mistakes as a confidence drainer. We talked about opinions as a confidence drainer. We talked about comparison. And we talked about things that are out of your control, controlling your life as a confidence drainer. What I want you to do right now, okay, is as we progress into CBs, not Chris Brown, as we progress towards CBs, confidence builders, I want you to think about something real quick. And I want you to think about this when we get offline. Think about the times in your life, just like we did before, but this is on the flip side. Think about the times in your life when you were most confident. Think about that for a second. Like, I'm talking about unlimited confidence, and it can be the simplest things. It could be you driving to school, you changing your kid's diaper, you cooking. Like, just think about the times when you're confident. You're so confident that you don't even think it's confidence because you just operating in second nature. Like, think about those times. When are you most confident? Think about that for a second. You guys can write it down. You guys can write in the chat box, because I'm looking right now, times that you are confident at work. Lisa said at work. In emergencies. Amy said in emergencies. Charlene said doing my job, yoga, meet new clients when I be. And went, man, what? Cooking. When I was, it's going too fast. I'm trying to read it. I'll be most confident when I'm, it's going too fast. Hold on. My work helping others. I'm most confident when I'm with my kids. Okay, at work, cool. This is going super fast. So being a coach, artwork, awesome. So think about that and really feel that. Like, and ask yourself that question, like, why am I so confident during these times? That's what I do. Like, it's simple, right? I ask myself, why am I so confident during these times? Just like on the flip side, like, why am I not confident? And I evaluate these things. So let's talk about 5 confidence builders real quick. And we're going to talk about what you can do every single day to build your confidence. Then we're going to do some Q&A. That's cool with you guys. So when it comes to CBs, confidence builders, when I look over my life, these are 5 things that I feel like really build my confidence, and I want to break it down. And you guys can have a different 5, but I'm sure these 5 you guys can relate to because it truly builds confidence. Number 1, all right? Number 1, accomplishment. Accomplishment builds confidence. And let me be clear. When I talk about accomplishment, I'm not talking about always achievement. You see, an accomplishment can be a first step. An accomplishment doesn't have to be like success. Doesn't have to mean you have to be successful at it. An accomplishment is taking the first step. So an accomplishment might be overcoming a fear. An accomplishment might have been signing up for TIC, right? An accomplishment might have been, going to the gym for the first time. You might have went to the gym and got your butt kicked. But you know what? It's not about you getting your butt kicked. It's about the attempt to accomplish. So I want to understand that when I say the word accomplishment. And the 4 A's that I've talked so much about that you guys love is a great way to build your confidence, right? I mean, you guys can share right now. I see it all the time, how much you guys are sharing it, saying how much it's helped your life already. And these only a few weeks, just imagine a whole year of the 4 A's. What's the 4 A's for you guys that don't know? One is appreciation. So waking up every single day and appreciating life, being thankful, however you got to do it. Thanking God. You can, meditate, do yoga, whatever you want to do, just being grateful, right, for your life, for your health, to have another day on this earth. Okay, that I'm not gonna get into the brain science behind it. I've talked about it before. Go on the Facebook group, you will see me do a whole video about it. But what it does to your brain, man, it releases so many great chemicals in your brain. All right, so we got appreciation, we got activity, right? What's activity? Going to the gym, going for a walk, going to do something, right? To release those endorphins in your life. Confidence, again, it strengthens it. We've got accomplishment, which we just talked about. Accomplishment could be something simple, could be taking, like, one of my accomplishments every single day is taking Tristan to school. I love it. It makes me feel super confident as a father. I'm like, man, this is cool. Like, I'm doing like daddy duty and I'm being a beast at it. And it might seem so simple to other people, but it was a point where I didn't always have the opportunity to take Tristan to school. So that built a lot of confidence in me, right? It might be making up your bed. It could be something huge. It could be a task that you have, right? So we got appreciation, we got activity, we got accomplishment, and the last is affection. Affection is just giving your kids a hug, giving your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, a hug, giving a stranger a hug. A hug can change your life. You might be like, Trent, are you crazy? Look up the research on what a hug can do for you, okay? And so when it comes to accomplishment, what I want you guys to do is I want you to set up, the 4 A's is great. If you're doing that, keep doing that. You want to take it a step further, set up every single day a win for you, okay? I usually do 3 wins a day. A win for me doesn't have to be some huge goal, right? But it's something that can move my life forward, some area of my life. My win sometimes is taking Tristan to school. My win sometimes is working out. My win sometimes is getting prepared for, like, my win today is this, right? This is my win for today. And so focus on one win. I always say this quote, one win a day keeps low self-esteem away. One win a day keeps low self-esteem away. Don't try to focus on 30 different things, but focus on one win. What's one thing that you can do every single day? Prepare tonight and say, okay, tomorrow, if I do this, I'm going to win my day. And if you want to take it a step further, you can do 3 wins. Because just think, if you win something every single day, that's 365 wins, if my math is right, a year. That's a lot of wins. You winning some championships in your life. Like, by doing that, by being that consistent, okay? So a confidence builder is accomplishment. The second confidence builder I want to talk about is consistency. Being consistent. The reason you have confidence in driving, just imagine when you first started driving. Some of y'all still drive like this, I'm sure. But you drive like this, you were nervous in driver's ed, like you was freaked out. But now some of y'all be like me, I don't probably need to put this information out there, but like when I'm trying to get some, I'll put like it's definitely the wrong way to drive. Don't drive like this, but I'll drive with my thigh. Sometimes you driving like this, some of y'all cool with your hand back, whatever it may be, because you're comfortable, because you've done it so much. For you guys that have jobs, right? When you first went to your job, I'm sure you wasn't as confident at your job. But the more you did it, the more you showed up, you became confident, right? Same thing with cooking. Some of you probably couldn't cook. Some of you probably still can't cook. So y'all about to get in y'all's feelings. I'm sure everybody can cook on here, all right? But as you did it more and more and more, you became confident. When I played football, like as a receiver, when I first started, I wasn't confident. But the more I did it, the more I became confident. What am I trying to say with consistency? Repetition is fear's worst nightmare. Ooh. I don't think y'all understand the power of what I just said. Repetition is fear's worst nightmare. The more you show up regardless, the more you be consistent, because when you're consistent, this is what happens. You start to trust yourself. Like, forget other people trusting you. When you build consistency, you start to trust yourself. Do you trust you? Like, do you really trust you? That's a great question. Do you trust yourself? If you don't trust yourself, why don't you trust yourself? Is it maybe because you haven't been keeping the promises that you made to yourself? Or the commitments? Or the change? Well, repetition and consistency, I need you, forget promises. Forget promises, man. I don't do promises. I do commitments. Promises are with words, commitments are with actions. I need you to keep the commitments that you make to yourself this year. And I don't want to put any negative light tonight, but there's a lot of people, not a lot, let me not say a lot, but there's some people who signed up for Inner Circle that didn't make it to tonight. There's some people that had that high on December 11th that didn't make it to tonight. They already dropped out. They abandoned the promise that they made to themselves for whatever reason. And some people have valid reasons that I understand, but some people I don't know what their reason was, to be honest with you. Already dropped out. Because that mood, that high that I talked about, that inspiration, that motivation that so many people love, right? That gets them so high and excited, that mood left. It's life. Right? It's not about what you do it's not about what you do in the convenient times in your life. It's not about what you do in the motivated times in your life. It's not about what you do in the happy times with in your life. It's about what you do in the inconsistent times with your life. When it sucks, are you still going to show up? Right? When people walked out of your life, are you still going to show up? When people are throwing opinions and rejections and you made mistakes and you're comparing your life and you're living in fear, are you still going to show up? That's the question that I have for you. Because you have to be consistent through that. Because if you can still show up regardless, what that does to your confidence is probably stronger than anything else. And I know a lot of us are going through some hard times right now. And I get it, man. I get it. But I need you to show up regardless. I need you to put in that repetition, because if you don't put in the repetition, you're never going to be comfortable doing it. Me as a speaker, right? Like, you remember when I just told you earlier, right? I thought 5 minutes was an eternity. I've been on for 62 minutes. How did that happen? Right? How did that happen? It happened because of repetition. It's because I showed up regardless. Even in the midst of fear, I showed up. Even in the midst of confusion, I showed up. Even in the midst of doubters, I showed up. Even in the midst of insecurities, I showed up. And I need you to show up regardless. Because this confidence thing won't happen if you don't show up, right? You got to go through it. It's a part of the process. I wish there was a magic pill that you can just be like, and you change and you're confident. I wish it was like that. Actually, I don't, because then it would suck. It's kind of like, I always hike, right? And I always say, sometimes I'll be at the bottom. I'm like, man, I wish I could just snap my fingers. I could be at the top of the mountain. But then I've done that before. When I was in Cape Town, they had the Table Mountain, and you can't climb it. Well, we took this trolley to the top, and it was beautiful up there. But I was like, man, like, it don't feel the same because I took a trolley to the top. Like, it would have been a lot more euphoric if I would have climbed it, right? Like, the process sucks, but the process is beautiful when you look back. Okay, so I need you to show up regardless. All right, repetition is fear's worst nightmare. Number 3, self-care, period. Okay? And I'm talking about all of self-care. I'm talking about, I'm going to be careful how I say this, because it's not about looks. Okay? It's not about, okay, you got to wear a suit and tie, you got to impress people, but you got to care about yourself. Just think, like, when you get like me, I got to go get an edge up, man. Like, I need me an edge up, because when I get out the barbershop, I'll be feeling good. You know what I'm saying? I be feeling good when I get my hair retwisted. I'm like, ooh, you fly. I be feeling good. And I know a lot of you feel like that. Ladies, when you get your hair done, you know, or when you wake up, you got a nice fit on. Like, and my nice fit is like a t-shirt. So I like when I wear this is cool for me. And a hat. This is my nice fit. But when I take care of myself, right? You just operate different. And I'm not just talking about looks. I'm talking about your body. I'm talking about going to the gym. I'm talking about what you eat. I'm talking about loving yourself. Loving yourself all around. It builds confidence. You know, like how you carry yourself will build confidence in yourself. Okay? How you carry yourself. Like it's you can tell when somebody's not confident. Let me ask you guys this question. When you're not confident, how are you? Are you small? Right? Do you kind of timid? Like, are you small or are you like walking like this? How are you? Right? I'm not talking about faking it till you make it either. I'm talking about for real. Are you small? Very small, right? Exactly. Are you moving forward towards the conversation or are you leaning back? Which one? Yep, shoulders turned down low, small. Exactly. So small, I'm invisible. You're moving back, right? You're not moving forward, right? Are you sitting up tall, straight? Are you kind of like this? You're leaned over, all right? So I say this because this is very important to your confidence. Your posture is a part of self-care. How you carry yourself, how you talk. Okay, and I'm not telling you to start talking like I'm talking now because like I don't always talk with this much passion. Like I'm almost like a quiet person, but I mean what I say. I believe in what I say. I take care of myself. And so I need you to take care of yourself in all areas of that. Whatever that means to you, please take care of yourself because self-care is not selfish. So tomorrow, for this next month, evaluate that. How are you walking? How are you talking? You know, over time, as you become more confident, what are you doing? Maybe it's a craft, right? Maybe you're a speaker and you're just evaluate that. Like I look back at my videos when I first started out, I was like, man, I was super not confident. I could just tell. I would never be like this. I'll be like, you know, like, okay, guys, you know. So think about in your relationship, think about it. Like just evaluate that and think about it. Okay. 3, self-care. 4, are y'all good? Do I need to come through the screen and wake y'all up? Are y'all good? We still good, right? All right, just making sure y'all still with me because we got a little bit more time. I got to take some questions. Cool. There we go. We good. Brooklyn, good. There we go. What's up, Brooklyn? What up, Gina? Eating it all up. Like Zeke gonna do on Saturday, right? We're good. Cool. Okay, awesome. Just making sure y'all with me, man. I feel it. I feel it. I'm confident, but I don't want to be overconfident. You know, I feel like I'm killing it, but I don't want to be overconfident. 4, y'all heard me say this a lot, and this is the reason why I say it and I do it. Fall in love with progression. Number 4, progression. Fall in love with progression. Progression builds confidence because you can look back and you can see how far you came. Has anybody ever did that before? Like before and after? Y'all see my before and after on Instagram? Man, hey, I had to be confident to post that because I'm not gonna lie. Like I was like, man, I'm gonna get opinions. Like I don't know. It's like that's a drainer train. That's a CD. That's a CD. I need a confidence builder. I thought about accomplishment real quick, and it switched my mindset. But like my picture on Instagram was, oh man, like I cringe when I look at it, my before and after with my weight. I watched the video. I was 250. I was 250, and nothing wrong with people who are 250, but 250 for me was me not taking care of myself, was me not practicing self-care, was me not confident. And I watched the video when I started my marathon training. I was 250. And I'm gonna send you guys some behind the scenes stuff just for you guys. I'm not gonna send it anywhere else. You guys are gonna get a lot of stuff coming up that nobody else gets, by the way. And of course now I'm down, 40 pounds or so, 35, 40 pounds. And I look back and it built so much confidence in me to see my progression, to see where I came from. When I go back to my mom's house in the room that I started rehab time in, it built so much confidence in me because it's like, wow, like look how far I've came, because sometimes you can forget. Sometimes you can forget just how much progression you're making because it's you. Like it's hard to evaluate that at times if you're not writing it down, if you're not tracking it. So sometimes it is good to look back and say, man, like I'm more confident than I was last month, last week. Man, I'm better. I'm good. I'm growing. I'm progressing. I'm evolving. And these are things that you have to do. Fall in love with the process. And this goes totally against perfection, right? Don't fall in love with perfection. Fall in love with progression. It's okay if you don't get it right. It's okay if you fail. It's okay if you struggle. It's okay if you're embarrassed. It's okay if you mess up. It's okay. What's not okay is accepting it and staying that way. But it's okay to turn that L into a lesson. That's what progression is about. And the more you do something, the more you become confident at it. The more you progress, the more you grow, the more you grow, the more you start to appreciate your life, right? So 4, fall in love with progression. And the last CB, and like I said, I could talk about like 20 of these, but these are 5 that when I looked at my life, helped me build my confidence. The main 5. The last CB is preparation builds confidence. Okay? Set yourself up to win. Please prepare your life to win. Like when you go into your day, it's just like anything. When you go into a test, just think about the test you went into that you didn't prepare. Some of y'all might have like lucked up, or some of y'all are like super smart, not like me. But some of y'all are super smart. You don't need to prepare. But the times I didn't prepare, I failed miserably. Period. And it's the same thing with life. I'm not telling you to over prepare, like do it in your own way. Like I'm not a person that plans everything out. Some people are. That's not me. But I know if I'm prepared, I'm more confident going into the situation. I'm more confident going into inner circle. I'm more confident speaking on a stage. I'm more confident telling my team what direction we're going because I'm preparing. Set yourself up to win every single night. Okay? And then that next day, you put the steps in process, you get those accomplishments, you practice those 4 A's, and you win your day. You know, it's I want you guys to research something, okay? It's on YouTube. And this is something I learned from football. And this is the last part, and I'm going to talk about the confidence checklist, something that I do every single day. That's the application part. That's the implementation part that keeps me building these confidence builders. I want you guys to go to YouTube, and I want you to type in, I don't care if something crazy comes up, but I want you to type in Trent Shelton versus Texas, because I want you to see the story to this so you understand like the backstory to it. So you will see me score a touchdown, like an 80-yard touchdown on the first play of the game, right, against Texas at UT. Like, I went to Baylor, so, like, you know, we horns down, everything. Like, I don't even like burnt orange at all. My wife bought me a burnt orange workout shirt. I told her to throw it away, and I was super serious. So she never bought burnt orange in my house again. But I want to tell you the backstory behind that. And I want to tell you how it can relate to you with your game of life. So that whole week, because we weren't that good, I'm going to be honest with you. At that time, we weren't that good. So we knew we had to do something crazy, like some trick play to come out the gate. And so that whole week to score, to like really set the tone at UT, that whole week we've been practicing this trick play, right? This trick play did not work at practice at all. Like our defense covered it. It didn't work. We was like, man, it's not going to work in the game. I'm going to be real. I didn't have no confidence in it because it never worked. So the night before the game in the hotel, I almost didn't get to play that game, actually, by the way. That's another whole story that I'm not going to get into. But the night before in the hotel at the game, like the night before in the hotel, my coach comes up to me. The same coach I talked about. You remember I said in my live how I had a coach that came to me and before my first game, Harold Jackson. He comes to me and says, "Are you ready for tomorrow? Are you ready for the play?" And I was like, "Coach, man, I'm ready, but I don't think it's going to work." He said, wait. He said, "It's going to work." He said, "You got to believe." He said, "What I want you to do tonight is I want you to play the play before the play." I'm just like, what are you talking about? He's like, play the play before the play. He's like, go through it in your head. He was like, go through it so much that when you get there, you already been there. So I'm like, okay. So the night before, like probably like 30 times, I'm like, Okay, we break the huddle. They kick the ball off. We get the ball. We break the huddle. I'm seeing the DB out there. I fake like I'm gonna block him. We do a little flea flicker and I catch it and I celebrate. Like I'm even practicing my celebration. You'll see it. I like did this. That was my celebration, and I did that over and over and over again. And so this is a trick in sports. They tell you to play the game before the game. And so I get there in the game, and by my surprise, like I'm not even thinking about it not working because I did it so much in my head that I believed I really did it. So when I got to the game, I was like, I'm not nervous at all. I mean, it's 100,000 people there booing. Like, it's a tough stadium to play at. If you guys live in Austin, you know what I'm talking about. And so they're booing. None of that bothered me. I had like maximum confidence. And this didn't work at practice. So play happened. They snapped the ball. I did exactly what I did in my imagination. Make a long story short, first play of the game, 76 or 78-yard touchdown to the house. Celebration, bang. So you might be saying, Trent, what does that have to do with me? I don't play sports. Play the game the day right before. Go over in your head, visualize. And you might say, visualization, that's crazy. No, it's not. I don't know if you heard this story. When I tell it all the time too. When people ask me, was I surprised when I was speaking in Africa? Like, that's a big deal. Africa, just outside the country, especially when you started in your mama's room that you didn't want to be a speaker, and then you had a visualization that God showed you years before that you would be speaking in Africa. Like, that's crazy. And so they asked me, and I was like, no, I'm not surprised. And they're like, what? You're not? I mean, you're from America. You're not surprised? No, I'm not. You know why? Because my mind was already in Africa before my body showed up. That's preparation. That builds confidence. I was preparing to speak across the world. Once God gave me the green light, and I knew this rehab time was what it is, I was preparing to speak across the world before I ever stepped foot outside the country, before I ever got a passport. And as you guys know, I've been to a lot of countries. I can name a whole bunch that I've spoke at personally, not somebody bringing me to speak, but us throwing our own events in these countries because of people like you guys that spread it across the world is amazing. But the point I'm trying to make to you is that I prepared. I set myself up to win. Preparation builds confidence, okay? So my CBs were what? Number one, accomplishment. Number two, you got to see it, believe it, see it, do it. That's right, Teresa. That's right. There you go. Love that message. Is anxiety in reverse. I never even thought about it like that. That's so true. It's so true, right? Work through it in your brain. And I don't know if this is true or not. I've heard this, and don't quote me, but I've heard something about the brain where it's hard for the brain to tell if something is actually real or not in certain situations. And I believe it pertains to stuff like that. Now, I don't want to give y'all information I'm not 100% solid on, but I believe that. You might want to research and look that up. But the CBs I talked about, confidence builders, accomplishment, consistency, self-care, progression, fall in love with it, and preparation. Okay, how you guys feel? You guys feel good? Play it out in your heads. There you go. Every single day, like play your day out. Because when you play your day out, it's easier for you to respond. So this can even work with confidence going into like arguments. It can. So like it can. Like when me and my wife argue, which is very rare, but I use art communication. Like I know Maria doesn't play it out in her head. I know she doesn't, but I do. So like if we're having a disagreement, I'll come to disagreement. I'm like, okay, I know what she's gonna say. I know how she's gonna respond. I know what the message I want to get across. So I'm just like chilled and calm. And I would bring her in here. She'd tell you, I'm just like calm and just collective and like, cause I have confidence because I've already prepared. When you go prepare yourself before you go into situations. And I don't mean like on paper and writing all your plans out. I'm not telling you that. I'm just telling you to play it up here first before you step into it in reality, if that makes sense. I wonder if it's like your brain doesn't know the difference between real sugar and fake sugar. Yeah. Francis, I think so. And I was doing some research on it. I don't want to like 100% like say that's true, but exactly that is studies that show that, show that for real. All right, cool. So we talked about everything tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is the first live training. We have been going for 80 minutes. I told you when you signed up, 60 minutes, I know me, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it. But listen, before we leave, I want to give you some implementation, right? I gave you some information. I gave you some inspiration. Hopefully you guys are inspired a bit, which is great. But now I need to give you some implementation of how you can do this daily, right? As far as like how you can have these confident builders strengthen daily in your life, because that's what it's all about. And these are simple things. I try to keep things simple. I'm not a complex guy. I can't teach complex things. I don't understand complex things. I like common sense stuff. So if you're looking for somebody that's complex, I'm not the one. I'm gonna give you some common sense stuff that you can turn into common practice. So I call these CCs, okay? Confidence checklists. I ask myself 4 questions every single day. And these 4 questions, I can all point back, not every question, but the collectiveness of these 4 questions, collectively of these 4 questions, they all tie into one of the confidence builders I talked about. So you can create your own checklist. You can use some of mine. You can ask yourself your own questions, but these are my checklists, right? So every single day, let me be real, 100% real. I don't do this every single day. And the days I don't do it, my confidence isn't where it should be. And just think, like, if your confidence is off a little bit, that can hurt. Like, you might have a big moment that you need to have your confidence on. But I do this as much as I can do it. I do this very, very often. Not perfect at it, but I'll try my best to do it. So CC, the first question I ask myself is, did I live it, breathe it, be it? And a lot of these are going to be like rehab time phrases. That's just me. I am rehab time. That's what I live. So did I live it, breathe it, be it? For me, that ties into consistency, right? That ties into self-care. Like, because a lot of people talk it. Beginning of 2018, I was too comfortable with talking it. Did I live it, breathe it, be it? Whatever that is, whatever that preparation was, whatever that goal that I set up, those wins, did I live it, breathe it, be it? Was I everything that I would want people, that I teach people, that I talk about? That's a key for me with consistency. And I want to be consistent at LBB in it. All right. The second question in my confidence checklist is, did I make the world? Somebody finish this for me. Did I make the world respect? Let me see who's going to say it. Is somebody going to say it? Is somebody going to say it in the chat room? Here we go. Brooklyn Fields, you want a book. Holla at me, Brooklyn. I'm going to send you a workbook. I'm giving away stuff all the time on here. So there we go. First person I saw was Brooklyn, though. Did I make the world respect my greatness? That's a question that I ask myself, because I know when I'm making the world respect my greatness, I'm living at my highest confidence. Like, I'm going to be real. Like, this is not to be arrogant, but I know when I'm making the world respect my greatness, I cannot be stopped by no opinion. I cannot be stopped by no failure. I cannot be stopped by no mistake. I cannot be stopped by no judgment. I cannot be stopped by no bad day. I am showing up regardless. I am making the world respect my greatness. I am being the greatest me I can be. So I have to ask myself that question. I am being unapologetically me. I'm celebrating my life. Right? And that's a big step for me. That's a big step for me. But if you notice this year, I'm not holding back on how I feel. I'm not holding back anything. Right? I'm not going to be embarrassed to show my passion. This is who I am. Right? So I ask myself, did I make the world respect my greatness? Okay, that's the second thing. And that goes with accomplishment. That goes with progression. That goes with so many of these. You can tie these to any confidence builder. The third question I ask myself is, did I conquer my struggle? Okay, in my struggle, when I talk about struggle, there's so many things I could be talking about that day. But one thing I want to talk about that we talked about today is fear. I could easily say, did I conquer my fear? But struggle to me means fear also. Or it could be comparison, right? Did I break the ruler in my life that day? Did I break the rules, right? So when I talk about conquering, I have a thought and I don't want to lose it. When I talk about conquering your struggle, oh man, what is my thought? I'm having a brain fart right now. I'm talking about conquering fear. I'll come back to that. I promise you. I don't want to stay on that. I'll come back to that. The fourth question is, did I win my championship? Did I win my championship? Every day for me is a championship, because every day is important. And I'm a sports guy and I love championships. That's why I play sports, to win these championships. And there are going to be days where you lose. It's part of it. But I ask myself every day, did I win my championship? And that championship might be spending time with my family. That championship might be creating something for you guys. That championship might be disconnecting. That championship might be going to protect my peace. And my championships are different, but every day that I win and I can mark a check by my wins, my 3 wins that I set up every single day, that's a championship for me. And I celebrate. I celebrate. I don't do anything crazy like you might think what I'm talking about with celebrate, but I celebrate. I pat myself on the back. I pat myself on the back. So my checklist is this. I ask myself these questions one more time. And I want to know what questions are you going to ask yourself? What's your checklist about? Some of you are probably going to adapt some of these questions. Did I live it, breathe it, be it as one? Did I make the world respect my greatness? Did I conquer my struggle? It is something right here I want to say. It's bothering me. Did I win my championship? Give me like 20 seconds right quick. Let me see if I can pull this thought in. Did I conquer my struggle? Oh, it was something I wanted to say right there. Oh, there we go. Yes. So I'm sorry, I'm excited. Y'all see behind the scenes when I get super excited when I get my thought back. Okay. So every single day, as close as you can get to that, I want you to do something you never done before. Okay? This is a great way to build confidence. This is attacking fear. I want you to go prove yourself wrong if that's the case. So, fitness is just so easy to relate to. So, say you never ran a mile before, or never walked a mile, never walked around the block around your house, never did it. Go do it. Go do it. Because what you're doing is you're showing, oh man, I hope y'all get this. What you're doing is you're showing yourself it's possible. It's possible. And that becomes so contagious throughout your life. Understand that. It becomes so contagious throughout your life when you show yourself it's possible, because now you have this mindset of what can't I do? Like you go from saying like, what can I do? Like I can't, first you can say, I can't do nothing. Then it's like, oh, what can I do? I might can do it. Then you get to a point where you start saying, what can't I do? You go attack your impossibilities. So it might be doing a live video. I don't know. It might be starting your book. It might be, going to cook for your family. Whatever it may be, I want you to do something daily that you never done before. If you can't do it daily, get as close as you can to daily. Okay? Because you're going to start building confidence. You're going to start overcoming fear in your life. And that's what it's all about. Like now I'm like, my mom calls me crazy. She's like, I don't know where you got this from, Trent. You be doing some crazy stuff. I be scuba diving, and I used to be afraid of like sharks. I do it all. I did a free fall with no parachute. Like in Dallas, like I went from being scared to jump out of a plane with a parachute to a free fall. It was like, I forgot the height. It's huge. Free fall into a net with a helmet on. And I just go find these things I've never done before. Of course, the marathon was something I was going to do, but I couldn't do it because I had to coach my son's game. But that's why I did the marathon. I was like, man, this is going to be a huge confidence booster throughout my life. So that's a great implementation to do with your life. At least do it weekly. At least find something you've never done before and go do it. Okay? But like I tell you in every single video, it all starts with you. Man, TIC, how y'all feeling? I'm feeling energized, man. I probably can go for another 2 hours. I'm feeling great. I hope that you guys get value tonight. That you turn the speed up on the treadmill. That you guys get value tonight. Let me know. Feeling great. Awesome. There we go. There we go. Man, did I show up today? There we go. I love the question that you're asking yourself. Did you please God? There we go. There you go. And realize when I say live it, breathe it, be it, that's all of that. Because I know what I embody me as a person, right? That's me with my spirit, man. Me being connected to God, that I live my standards. So those questions, I try to tie a lot of stuff in those questions, but those questions I can remember because I don't have a sharp memory like that. Cool. Awesome coaching. There we go. Headed to Dollar Tree tomorrow. Y'all gonna be on there breaking rulers. People are like, what are y'all doing? There we go. But make sure you do these implementations. Like put this into practice, please. And don't get frustrated if you feel like your confidence isn't building next week. But just set a goal, say by the end of the year, I'm gonna do evaluation. I'm gonna see if I'm more confident. I guarantee if you take these steps, if you understand this, if you evaluate your life, if you take this information, get inspired, do implementation, transformation has to take place. So I'm gonna take a few questions for you guys. Brenda just texted me some questions, and I'm gonna get to these questions. And okay, cool. All right, let's take the questions. Okay, Brenda, do you know who? Send me a few more, Brenda. You guys write down some questions. Send me a few more with some names so I can address the names. But these are just questions and saying, how, what if I cannot let go of fear? You can let go of fear, for one, okay? And what I mean by that, I'm not saying you'll never be fearful. Like, don't get it twisted. There's still times where, like, even when I say, you remember I said I did a free fall? Like, I was fearful, but I didn't let fear control me or stop me. I felt the feeling, I evaluated the feeling, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna still go do it anyway because I knew if I allow fear to prison me, fear was gonna control me. And so I would just challenge you. What I said before is about like changing the outcome and gain leverage over your life. Like I don't know if you have kids or if your life is bigger than you, you're a human being. And so whatever that bigger than you is, whatever that may be, your family, your friends, or your future, use that as leverage to say, you know what, if I don't go attack this fear, if I don't run through this fear, then my whole future is going to be wasted. These are conversations I have with myself, and it helps me gain tremendous leverage over my life. So understand, doesn't mean you're never going to be fearful. Sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll get to a point like driving a car. Like I'm not fearful when I drive anymore. I used to be fearful when I first started. Sometimes you really get over it, but sometimes you still have that emotion of fear. But just because you feel that emotion doesn't mean that that emotion has to control you. So you can let go. And I would ask you this, instead of asking the question of like, what if I can't let go of fear? Say, how can I become more confident? Focus on that. Say, how can I become more confident? Okay? Because when you become more confident, the other part will take care of itself. That's a great question. Somebody asked, Brenda, you sent like 1,000 questions. Brenda, like, I'm for TIC. Like, you're gonna answer all these. What are CDs? CDs are confidence drainers. That's what it stands for. Confidence drainers. I just shortened it up. CBs are confidence builders, right? Confidence drainer was fear, was mistakes, opinions, rejections, comparison, things you can't control. What do you do? Okay, let me see. All right, we good on the questions, Brenda. Brenda said, "Boy, hey, Brenda is definitely. I'm for y'all too, but Brenda's like, this is my people. All right. Kim asked, how do I co-parent or be civil with the person that hurt you emotionally? So that's a great question. Great question. And Kim, I would tell you to do a few things. One, I would get advice because I'm gonna give you my perspective. I would get advice from somebody who's in that position that maybe. Hopefully, you know somebody that's been successful at doing that. But you have to. I want to make sure I say the right thing on this. Parent and be civil with the person that hurt your emotions. Okay, you got to detach your emotions, and this is hard, from that person. And what I mean by that, or should I say refocus your focus on what matters, right? Obviously you have to co-parent. So focus on your kids. And I know it's hard, but you have to remind yourself, right? You have to remind yourself as much as you can. I don't know your situation, so I wish I knew it so I could help you. I don't know if the person abused you or what it may be, but you got to remind yourself that that person was hurt. right? You have to find forgiveness in the process for that person, because if you don't find forgiveness, that person will control the rest of your life, period. And I always tell people, work on yourself, become the best you, become a better you, because when you become a better you, I personally feel like the things that have power over you start to lose power, right? The people that start to have power, the frustration, and your life becomes bigger. So my battery is at 20%. So think about that, right? And make it about the child and give forgiveness. And if that person is still being disrespectful, just understand where that comes from. It's almost like feeling sorry for someone. You know, when I'm around people that have hurt me and I have to be around them, I feel sorry for them because they're hurt inside. And I don't take it personal because I understand that they're dealing with something that they haven't faced. And the only way they think that, and I don't know if this is your situation, but I'm sure it is. The only way that they think they can heal their pain is by giving pain to someone else. Right? And you realize that, you start to understand, wait, this isn't about me. This isn't about them. You know, they would have treated somebody else with the same hurt. And it doesn't make it right. But you start to understand. I think the more you understand why somebody hurt, why somebody's hurt, why somebody treats you the way they treat you, and you realize that it's not about you, right? I'm sure you're not the cause of it. And it becomes a lot easier to deal with. A lot easier to deal with. I hope I helped you with that question. All right. I'm not going to be able to answer everybody's question, okay? But Brenda's going to get all these questions to me. And the ones that we have, at least the ones we can see most of. And I will address some of these either next time we get on here or definitely throughout the month in the group. Trent, why the name Rehab Time? That's a great question. The name Rehab Time because, so a lot of people hear the word rehab, they think drugs and alcohol, right? They think addiction and recovery, which is a part of rehab. But where I was at mentally, rehab meant putting the strength back into a weakness, right? It meant putting the strength back into a weakness, mind, body, and soul. And I don't know if it was like, you know, Rihanna had the song Rehab on the radio at that time. It was back in 2009, so I'm not sure. But I was like, hey, it's time for me to check into rehab. It's time for me to go to rehab. And that mentality came from playing sports, because when you're hurt, what do? You go to rehab. And I just started saying it. You know, I never wanted to start I never thought I would start an organization, or I'm sure if I was like, okay, let me start an organization, I don't think I would have named it that, but I'm glad I named it that because that's what it is, and I love it. But I think if I would have said I'm starting an organization, I probably would have came up with something like, I don't know, live in your greatness or something like that. But Rehab Time was for me. It wasn't for anybody else, to be real with you. I didn't know I would be doing this. It was my words to say, okay, it's time to go to the gym. Okay, it's time to get into your word. Okay, it's time to read some books. Okay, it's time to work on yourself. So that's why rehab. Okay. I think Brooklyn asked this. She said, how do you get into networking with like-minded people, and how do you know what network is for you or isn't? So I think the best way to network is to put yourself in the environment, to reach out. I tell people, and if it's somebody that you want to work with that might have, like, say for example, me. There's people who reach out to me all the time, right? And I'm big on protecting my life and protecting my peace. So I don't accept everybody who wants to work with me. Obviously, you know, I'm big on that. You guys know I talk about that all the time. But I say one of the best ways to, like, work with somebody is bring value to that person. I can guarantee you that. Ask yourself, how can I bring value to like-minded people? How can I bring value to this network? How can I bring value to this community? And you just surround yourself around it. So it's going to conferences. It's being a part of groups like this. I mean, it's simple stuff like that. Just being in the environment and stepping outside of your comfort zone. And you remember I talked about on my on December 11th, like me being in masterminds, like that was outside my comfort zone. Like I'm not a guy who likes to be around crowds. I know that seems super like unbelievable, but I'm not. Like crowds make me nervous. I used to feel alone in a crowded room, if that makes any sense. So I would tell you to do that. And when you say how you know what network is not for you, your values. It's simple. We're going to talk about standards probably next month. in next month's training, because this is a great question. My standards make decisions for me. So even if I, like a person and what they're doing, but it goes against what I stand for, I can't have my life around it, because I know in the long run it's not going to work out. And a lot of people, they ignore their standards to even be in relationships. They ignore their values to be in relationships because it looks good, it seems good, it might feel good, whatever it may be, but it doesn't mean that it's good for your life. And so you have to have standards that you don't budge for nobody, that you don't budge. And those standards make the decisions for you. All right, I hope that answered. Let me, so I'm gonna take a few more questions. But what if it's family? How do you cut them off? What do you mean by that? I just saw that question. When you say family, like immediate family, like, and I'm looking at the chat because I just saw that question. So ask that question again. You mean family? Okay, that you live with. So okay, this is tough. I get this question a lot. So let's just talk about the options, right? You got to talk about the options. You can't create some magic thing that's not going to work. So let's talk about the options. So here's your options. And what do you like? Do you mean like your spouse? Like I wish I could get more information on this because I want to have, the right information before I say something. Move them to the balcony. It's messed up. Do you mean like your spouse, siblings, sometimes parents? Okay, it's your children, adult children. They're difficult. Okay, this is it. This is me, and this is how I live. And you can ask Brenda; she knows. And my peace is my priority. Like you can ask Brenda; she'll tell you like I don't accept anything before 12 o'clock p.m. I don't. I don't accept anything that's like any type of question about something that's gonna make me like defensive, not in a bad way, but like have to respond like, oh, we gotta do this before 12 o'clock. Don't text me. Period. Before 12 o'clock is for me, my time. Okay, after 12 o'clock, we can talk about whatever. I say that because I make peace my priority. And my peace doesn't budge for anyone. 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 And people say, Trent, that's cold-hearted. That's not cold-hearted. I care about my life, man. And I understand when you let people in, when you budge on your peace, when you budge on your standards, when you don't prioritize these things, you put yourself in a place that you're not supposed to be at. That's not good for you to be at. So I would tell you this. All right. If it's a relationship thing with your marriage, somebody you're with, I believe in fighting for relationships. I say that. I've said that before. I don't think a lot of people ever share that video, but I believe in fighting for relationships. I really do. I don't promote divorce. I don't. But I'll tell you this. If somebody's treating you like trash, if you're fighting alone, that's a whole nother story. Because two people who care about each other will be fighting for each other. Okay? That's that part of it. The second part of it is if it's adult children, you got to limit your interaction. Like you can tell them, like, I'm here for you. Like, but if you're not going to change, if you're going to bring problems and pain to my life, listen, I got to learn how to love you from a distance. And this might seem very rude. I get it. But like I said, I got to be the best me for the people that live in this house. I got to be the best me. I don't care if it's my cousin. I don't care if it's my dad. I don't care if it's my brothers. I don't care if it's my friend. If you're bringing pain to my life, if you're bringing problems to my life, the P's, right? If you're bringing pain, if you're bringing problems to my life, then me consistently being around you is not going to happen. Now, I'm going to have conversations with you. I'm going to fight with you in a positive way. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to let you know what it is, right? I'm not just going to cut you off for no reason. I will never do that. But I have to be the best me for these kids. I got to be the best me for that woman upstairs. I got to be. And so if it's people in my house, they already know the deal. They know the deal. They know. Period. They know the deal. That doesn't mean I turn my back on my kids. I would never do that. But I'm not going to enable anyone. I know the dangers of enabling people. I know where that ends up, and I'm not going to enable anyone. So sometimes you have to learn how to love. Somebody just said it. Jaffe said it. Boundaries are health. Man, I love that. I love that. Boundaries are health, and you don't need to budge on your boundaries for no one. And it's gonna hurt, it's gonna suck, but you have a choice. This is why I tell people all the time: you have a choice, and it's up to you how you want to live life. And I'm not gonna tell you how to live it. You can deal with it. You can deal with it, right? You can accept it, deal with it, or you don't have to deal with it. Those are your two choices. And if you're in a situation, so like what I tell kids, right, that can't leave their house, I'm not promoting them to walk out of their house. I say, okay, if you can't change your situation, if you can't leave from the situation, then you have to change your mindset towards the situation. You have to put yourself in growth environments. You have to surround your life around positivity. You have to surround your life around a community of confidence builders. You have to do these, you have to be on your A game. Like, because you got to like, quadruple positivity versus that negativity to stay sane. To stay sane. So if you don't want to leave the situation, if you can't leave it, you got to change your mindset towards it. That's going to take a lot of work. And I'm all for that. I'm all for that, but you got to go what works for you. But that's just me. I protect my peace. I don't budge on my boundaries because I've done it before and I know where it leads to. And I'm not trying to go back to that place. That's a great question. Eric, okay, let me take two more questions. And my phone is about to die. My phone was on 100% before I got in here. How do you learn to? Okay, cool. Robin said, "How do you learn to love progression when it's painful?" Whew, that's a great question, Robin. The best way to love progression when it's painful is to understand what pain produces. And so I talk about the word leverage. This is how I talk to myself. So you guys can take this and use this. This is how I talk to myself. So when it comes to pain, right? So first of all, I understand what pain is. I understand. I don't put myself through pain on purpose, and there's different types of pain, but I understand what pain is. Pain is the foundation of strength. You're never going to meet a strong person that's never went through pain. You're never going to meet somebody. You're never going to meet somebody with stories and knowledge, whatever you want to call it, that hasn't went through anything. So I understand what pain produces if you allow it to produce it. Like pain can produce excuses or pain can produce results. And so I understand the process sucks. I say in one of my spoken words, what I say, the journey might be lonely. Like what I say on Rise, I don't know, listen to Rise Above. My brain's all over the place. But I talk about that in Rise Above, right? I say the process sucks because it does suck. It's painful. But when you understand what the pain produces, so it's like climbing a mountain. The climb sucks, but I understand that once I get past the sucky part, the peak is beautiful. The results are beautiful. The strength and the confidence that you gain in the process of conquering your pain, conquering your struggle, conquering your fear, conquering your doubt is incredible. Is incredible. So change your mindset towards pain and how you move, right? How do I move? Trent, I'm fearful. I don't want to move to progression. How do I move? Like, how do I leave? How do I walk away? How do I start? This is how I gain leverage. I ask myself these questions right here. Do you want to die unhappy? Trent, do you want to die unhappy? This is how I talk to myself. Trent, do you want to die unfulfilled? Do you want to die? Do you want to go to your grave knowing that you left so much on the table? That you didn't give your all you can give to this world? Do you want to do that for some pain? And then when it comes to leaving situations that hurt, like letting go of friends, like that stuff ain't easy, man. I had to let go of a lot of people close to me. Not a lot, but I had to let go of some people close to me I truly cared about. And I had to demote them in my life. Like I still care about them. I still would do. I did something for someone that did me dirty the other day. Like they had they got a new job, and I could have easily been like, nah, like you don't want to hire this person, and just being in my feelings. And they're a good employee, but it just didn't work out. So I could have easily been like that, but I'm not that person. I always want to see somebody win, right? I always, even if it doesn't, even if you did me wrong, I still want to see you win. But how I move when it's painful, simply this. Do I want to go through a temporary pain or do I want to stay in a permanent pain? Which one? I'd rather go through a temporary pain that turns into strength than stay in a place that I know is not going to change and be full of pain. I'd rather go through the unknown. I'd rather go through the unknown to find some known peace than stay in the known and stay in some known pain. That's me. These are the conversations that I have with myself that makes me move. And it's fact. All right, nothing can change if you're not going to change. It's just fact. So that's how I deal with the pain of the progression. I understand pain, and I understand pain can be your friend if you allow it to be. Last question. I'm probably not going to be last question. I just don't want my phone to die. Period. Once you know it's a choice, without struggle, there's no process. Love it. Amen. I had to let go of some friendships just as alone. There we go. Temporary pain is much better than permanent pain. That's right, Norma. It's facts, right? But for some people, they believe that temporary pain is actually permanent pain. Yeah, Lisa, but it's not. That's what I'm saying. You got to change your beliefs. It's not. The temporary pain is not permanent pain. You're exactly right. Some people do think that. But and who knows how long you got to go through that temporary pain. But I know for a fact that if I don't move, if I'm in a place where I'm hurt, where I'm depressed, where I'm, feeling empty, I know if I don't move, then nothing is going to move in my life. Right? If I don't create movement in my life, that pain is not going to move. That pain is not going to go away. And if it does go away, it's probably disguised as depression, right? It's probably now become a silent battle. I know that. Like when I was the football, you know my story, right? The football, like I was in my mom's room and I was afraid to move. I was afraid to go out. I was afraid to try something different because I felt embarrassed. Like, oh, Trent, you got cut. Oh man, like you back here with us. You got cut. La, 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 this or that. I was afraid to even go out. But I was willing to go through that, right? I was willing to let go of certain friendships, right? That called me fake and they said, oh, you changed. I was willing to go through that. I was willing to let go of relationships that weren't good for me. I was willing to let go of that, right? But it was a point where I wasn't. And then I realized like, dang, like if I don't do nothing with my life, I'm going to be in my mama's room probably for the rest of my life or somewhere. I'm going to be living an unfulfilled life. I'm not going to be a role model for my son. I'm going to give him broken tools to try to build, for him to try to build his future. And I started thinking about these things. I said, forget that, man. I'll take my chances. And I took my chances. And I said, it can't be worse than this. Can't be worse than this. So I just created movement in my life. And it's not about understanding the how. It's about trusting the who. It's about understanding your why. It's not about understanding how can I get through this. Some of us are paralyzed in our present because we're trying to figure out how we can change our future so much. It's not about how can you change your future right now, right? For me, the leverage was I don't want this to end up as my future because if I didn't do nothing, that's a guarantee. But for me, it was, okay, I know I don't want to stay here. I don't know where I'm going. I didn't have a plan for rehab time. I didn't know I would be here. You guys know my story. But I knew where I didn't want to stay with my life. I knew where I couldn't stay. So I was willing to lose everything. I was willing to be broke. I was willing to do whatever because I wanted peace in my life. I'm willing to lose it all for peace. Like, I want you guys to understand that because there's nothing more powerful than peace. It's not. And understand, when you have peace, you're still going to go through pain. You're still going to go through these moments. But peace, like, keeps you sane in these moments. Like, so understand God got you. Like, understand that. God didn't create you to settle. God didn't create you to live broken, right? God didn't create you to live unhappy. You think God created you to do that? Do you think that? Do you think God created you to settle with your life? I don't believe that. Not the God that I know. I don't believe that. So that was my mindset towards it. That's my mindset now, man. So that's a great question, man. You got me fired up over that for sure. One more question before I bounce. How do you let go? I don't know how to pronounce your name. You have a beautiful name, but I don't know how to pronounce. Is it Nefeli? Man, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's dope, though. How do you let go? How do you accept that you have no one and the one person you thought was there anymore? All right, let me talk to you. Do you really have no one? We got to watch the language that we tell ourselves. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. But watch the language that you tell yourself. You have someone. If you believe it like me, you got God. That's the most important person you can have. There's a world full of people. You got us now. You got me. I might not be in your life every single day, but you got me. You got people. So don't think that you have no one. I get it. The one you thought would be the one doesn't end up being the one. It's like I posted on Instagram the other day. Sometimes it takes the wrong relationships to get you prepared for the right one. And maybe that right relationship is you learning how to love yourself. There's been plenty of times where I thought they was the one. And now I'm thanking God that they wasn't the one. Straight up, because I wouldn't have met the one. You feel me? So I went through that time too. Where I was alone, where I felt like I had no one, where no one understood me. Like, you guys heard my spoken words. You guys heard my past videos. Those things come from real places. I felt like I had even though I had people, I convinced myself I didn't. Because I wanted to suffer alone, because I didn't want to bother people with my problems. I thought that I was alone, but I realized quickly that a lot of us go through these silent battles. And that's what silent battles are. We're going to talk about that. I know you guys took the 5 R's to freedom course. If you haven't, dive in it. But we're going to talk about that this year, the 3 R's. I shortened them up because I feel like 5 is too much, but I shortened it up. And I want to talk about a lot of that. I want to talk about facing reality. I want to talk about releasing things from your life and repairing things in your life. But I would tell you to, because you asked a lot of questions. Let me see. How do you let go? Don't focus on it. I know that seems so stupid to say. When I be telling people that, I be like, that's it. Don't focus on letting go. I had somebody in my inbox today, and I'm going to share exactly what I share with them to you. When you focus on letting go, when you focus on letting go of that person, when you focus on trying to get over that person, I hear it all the time, Trent, I'm trying to get over this person. Why are you trying to get over them? Why are you still making your life about them? Why? When are you going to make your life about you? When are you going to start focusing on yourself? Because as long as you're focusing on them, your life is about them. You'll never get over a person you're trying to get over. Because guess what? You're going to be paying attention to what they're doing. You're going to be paying attention to who they're talking to, how happy they are. Your life is going to be focused on them, and what you focus on is what you will feel. So I challenge everybody in here that's going through a situation like that, focus on becoming the greatest you this year. And listen, your emotions going to come up. You're going to miss that person. Your void's going to pop up. Your insecurities going to pop up. And you're going to feel like just because you miss them doesn't mean you need to go back to them. Doesn't mean you're not getting over them, right? Getting over them. Healing is a journey. Just because you're not healed doesn't mean you're not healing. But you have to stay the course. Put in your phone what they called. Y'all seen that video I did a while ago? Put in your phone what they called you. They called you pain. Put pain, because sometimes we forget. Remind yourself of why you made the decision to leave that situation. And focus on becoming the best you. Focus on learning how to love yourself. If you haven't taken the Love Yourself Challenge, take it. It's free. Go to TrentChallenge.com. A 20-something day challenge, focus on how to love yourself. Simple things. Some people in here, I'm sure, have already taken it. But that's what I would tell you. Don't focus on letting go. Just focus on loving yourself more. And guess what? In the process of that, you'll learn to let go. Because you'll learn to appreciate who you are. You'll learn your worth. You'll learn your value. You start to be like, that situation didn't even deserve me. That situation wasn't even for me. I was settling so much. But as long as we are allowing people to control us by focusing on them, we'll never get to that point. And it takes time. It takes time. Okay? That's the sucky part. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes time to change your life, right? You can change in a second by making a decision, but for change to manifest, it takes time. All right, guys. I'm about to get off here. I've been on for 118 minutes, pretty much 2 hours with you guys. Okay, I told you I will over deliver. I hope you got tons of information. Like I said, this isn't just an inspiration moment where I just come on here like Facebook and just, get into it. Like, I know those are cool and they feel good and they inspire you. TIC, the inner circle, it's about slowing it down. It's about working through processes. It's about you guys asking me questions, letting you guys know my insights, letting you guys know the implementation part, the application part, so we can work towards transformation. All right, this is the first one of the year. I hope you guys are having a great year. Let's get in this Facebook group. Let's keep it up. The Facebook group is on fire. I'm loving what I'm seeing in there. So much growth. It is a growth community. You guys are doing great. Keep it up. Keep it up, right? Keep it up. And I'll be in there. Brenda had posted where to send questions to. I will see those questions and I will answer those questions throughout the week. I'll probably come on live this week. Well, probably not, I don't know, maybe this week, who knows? I'll come on live, talk to you guys. Any questions you may have, reach out to Brenda, reach out to us. And I'm just grateful that you guys are here and you guys are actually really made a decision to really take a step, man. Because a lot of people don't make that decision. So I'm proud of you for investing in yourself, and I'm proud of you for trusting. Well, I'm proud of you. Like I'm thanking you. Not even proud of you. I'm thanking you for trusting me throughout all these years and trusting me to help coach your life. I'm happy to be your coach. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Let's get it. My voice is gone, as you can hear it. And yes, you can rewatch this. This will be in your portal. I guess I said that right. But I will let you know, yes, you can. This is yours. You can rewatch it, take notes. And this month, focus on these things, right? If you don't have the worksheet, get it or go over your notes if you don't need the worksheet. But focus the rest of these 30 days for this next month on building your confidence. When we come on here on February 10th, we can talk about a little bit how your confidence is